Mara's hands were raw and cracked. The roughness, a testament to years spent scrubbing floors, mending broken things, and surviving a world that saw her as nothing more than a transaction. The market stalls stretched along the cracked streets, voices hawking wares and lives like cattle, trading hopes and dreams like they were currency. But Mara, she was property, a commodity with a price tag stitched onto her existence. Her eyes, once bright with dreams, had dulled to a weary resignation. She had long ago buried the girl who believed in kindness and freedom beneath layers of pain and necessity. The city was cold and cruel, a place where shadows ruled and the strong preyed on the weak. Her life was a chain, each link forged by betrayal, fear, and a relentless fight to survive. She was sold again today. Her fate decided by another callous hand, but something inside Mara refused to break completely. That flicker, buried deep, whispered of a different life, one where she might rise beyond the shackles of her past. But in this city, hope was dangerous, and Mara knew better than to let it consume her. The night air was thick with smoke and the distant roar of engines echoing through the fractured streets. Mara pulled her threadbare cloak tighter around her shoulders, her heart pounding in a rhythm that matched the restless city. Tonight felt different, charged with an energy that prickled her skin, like the calm before a storm. She'd heard whispers, rumors carried on the wind about a figure who haunted the city's darkest corners, a man with fire in his eyes and flames licking his bones. They called him the Ghost Rider, a phantom of vengeance and justice who appeared where the innocent suffered most. Some said he was a curse. Others believed he was a savior. Mara didn't know what to believe, but tonight, she was about to find out. The alley behind the market was a nest of danger, where dealers and thugs swapped cruelty like currency. Mara moved cautiously, her instincts razor sharp. Suddenly, a sharp scream pierced the night, a cry of terror that froze her blood. Without thinking, she dashed toward the sound. There, a group of men had cornered a young girl, their shadows looming like predators. Just as the men closed in, a figure erupted from the darkness, a tall man clad in leather, his skull blazing with ethereal fire, the Ghost Rider. His arrival was like a wildfire. He moved with a terrifying grace, flames curling around his fists as he struck down the assailants with brutal precision. The thugs scattered like frightened rats, leaving behind the girl and Mara, who watched in stunned silence. The Ghost Rider turned, his burning eyes locking onto Mara's. In that moment, something shifted inside her, a spark of something she hadn't felt in years. "Hope, you don't have to live like this," he said, his voice low and commanding, like the rumble of distant thunder. "There's a fight worth fighting." Mara swallowed hard, her world tilting on an axis she thought long broken. For the first time, she saw a path beyond the chains that bound her. The days that followed were unlike any Mara had known. The city's cold grip still tightened around her, but now, somewhere in the shadows of her heart, a small flame flickered, one she dared to call hope. She watched the Ghost Rider from a distance, witnessing how he tore through the city's darkness like a blazing comet. Wherever oppression reared its ugly head, wherever someone was crushed beneath the weight of cruelty, he appeared. His fire was more than a weapon, it was a symbol, a promise that the forgotten could rise. Mara's eyes, once dulled by years of despair, began to glint with something new, possibility. But hope, she learned quickly, was a fragile thing. One evening, Mara found herself cornered by a cruel dealer, the same man who had just days before sold her like a thing to be traded. His sneer was like poison in her veins. "You think that ghost can save you? You belong to me." Mara's heart pounded. The words felt like chains tightening, but the memory of the Ghost Rider's blazing eyes bolstered her courage. "No," she whispered, voice steady despite the fear. "I don't belong to anyone." That night, she dreamt of fire, not the consuming flames that burned her past, but a steady, warm blaze that promised safety and strength. For the first time, Mara realized that freedom wasn't just a distant dream, it was something worth fighting for. The city's underbelly writhed with tension. Mara's defiance did not go unnoticed. Her captors tightened their grip, their threats sharper, their eyes darker. But Mara was no longer the broken girl who bowed to fate. With the Ghost Rider's fiery shadow cast over her, she found a strength she never knew existed. One night, she stood on a rooftop overlooking the sprawling maze of alleys below. The Ghost Rider approached silently, his flaming skull illuminating the darkness. "It's time," he said simply. "You're ready." Mara's heart raced. Ready for what? To fight back. To reclaim what was stolen from you. Together, they forged a plan, a daring strike against the network that traded lives like merchandise. Mara wasn't just a victim anymore. She was becoming a spark in the rebellion. The night of their mission, adrenaline coursed through her veins. She moved with purpose, every step a declaration of freedom. The city's shadows seemed less ominous now, almost alive with possibility. They struck swiftly, dismantling the operation piece by piece. Mara faced her fears head-on, each victory fueling the fire inside her. By dawn, the city had changed if only a little. And Mara, once treated like property, was becoming a force to be reckoned with. The fire wasn't just outside anymore. It burned inside Mara, fierce, relentless, consuming the doubts and fears that had held her captive for so long. Each step forward was a battle fought not only against the cruel city but within herself. The Ghost Rider watched her closely during their missions, his flames a constant reminder of the fight they shared. One night, as they rested beneath the shattered skyline, he revealed his own story, one marked by loss, pain, and a relentless quest for justice. "You think you're alone in this," he said quietly, voice like crackling embers. "But this fire, it connects us. It's the pain that drives us, but also the hope that keeps us burning." Mara listened, feeling the weight of his words settle like ash and then spark anew inside her. For the first time, she understood that fighting wasn't just about survival, it was about reclaiming their souls. Together, they prepared for the battles ahead. Mara's resolve hardened. She was no longer a commodity to be traded, but a warrior with a fire of her own. The city's heartbeat quickened as Mara and the Ghost Rider stood on the edge of the final battle. The network that had enslaved so many, the faceless powers profiting from misery, were within their reach, but they wouldn't go down without a fight. Flames flickered in Mara's eyes as she faced the looming fortress where the darkest dealings took place. Beside her, the Ghost Rider's skull blazed brighter, a beacon of fury and justice. The fight erupted like a wildfire, chaotic, fierce, and consuming. Mara moved with precision, striking at the heart of the corruption that had chained her for so long. The Ghost Rider was a whirlwind of flames, his wrath scorching the night and breaking the chains that bound the city's victims. Amidst the smoke and fire, sacrifices were made, allies fell, and scars deepened. But with every blow, Mara felt the weight of her past lift, replaced by the burning promise of freedom. When the dust settled, the fortress lay in ruins. The oppressive system began to crumble, and for the first time, Mara tasted victory not just for herself, but for everyone who had ever been traded like property. The first light of dawn stretched across the horizon, softening the scars left by the inferno. Mara stood amidst the ruins, the ash settling like a quiet witness to the battles fought and the chains broken. The city, though battered, breathed anew, its shadows retreating in the face of a hard-won freedom. Beside her, the Ghost Rider's flames flickered low, his mission nearing its end. "This fight, it's never truly over," he said, voice steady but tinged with weariness. "But you've become the spark the city needs." Mara met his blazing gaze, the weight of everything she'd lost and gained reflected in her eyes. She no longer saw herself as property, a commodity to be traded. She was a survivor, a fighter, a beacon for others trapped in the darkness. As the Ghost Rider faded into the rising sun's light, Mara felt a surge of resolve. The fire he had kindled within her would never die. She would carry it forward, just for herself, but for all who still dreamed of freedom. In the ashes of her past, a new dawn had risen.